The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 76. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Get your free audiobook by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello friend, welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a special lady on today all the way from Houston, Texas. She's the sweetest lady you will ever meet, and she's a mommypreneur. And without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Wu Tam. Jessica, how are you doing today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. How are you doing? I'm so happy that you had me on the show. I am a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids. My daughter's 10. I have a son who's 9, and my baby's 3. I've been married to my high school sweetheart, and we've been married for 13 years.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Jessica, what is your cultural background?
I was born in Taiwan. We moved here when I was 6. And, the traditional Chinese upbringing, you get good grades, you go to college, and when you go to college, you got to study something, not really for a passion of yours, but something that's going to give you a good job. We need security, something that pays well and will give you a good lifestyle. So my parents were like, hey, your aunt's an accountant. She seems to make a pretty good living. How about you try that? So it's not, no one ever dreams of being an accountant. It was just something that kind of was, taught to me that I had to pursue. And so that's exactly what I did.
Funny because, I took accounting for the same reasons, right? It's like, you're good with numbers, you should just take accounting. I did my certification. I tried to do my certification, and then I was thinking, for the next 10 years, I'm going to be studying about numbers and principles for the rest of my life. And I just couldn't do it because I was going to shoot myself. So I didn't end up finishing it.
It definitely takes a different breed of people, who like to just be in front of a computer and crunch numbers all day long. And, that was the life that I was leading down. That was my path. And I was okay with it until I was, able to experience something so much better than that.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to kind of get out of it because I just couldn't do it. I just knew that it wasn't for me and I just had to stop. And my dad's like, why did you do that? I was going to give you a good job, as usual Asian parents, right?
Right.
So, I think it's something that most Asian kids deal with.
Absolutely.
So, Jessica, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Well, one of my favorites is from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, which is so true, right? We give people permission to make us feel lesser than we truly are. And I think it has so much to do with your self-confidence and just letting people get to you in that way. And that's really something that we're trying to work on with our kids as well. So, a lot of people, they'll say that, since I'm a stay-at-home mom, they'll ask me, so what do? Do you sit on the couch all day and eat bonbons and watch soap operas? And I'm like, no, I'm running my house. If it weren't for me doing everything that I need to do and multitasking every day, my kids would not get to school on time, they would not be dressed, they would not be fed, their homework would not be done, volunteering at their school activities. My husband can't be the successful entrepreneur that he is without me making sure that he's fed, he's happy, he's taken care of. There's so many things that stay-at-home moms have to juggle. And a lot of people, they don't understand that the house doesn't run by itself. Someone is definitely in the back doing everything that makes everyone else that lives in this house, be able to have their life and, pursue their dreams because mom's in the background making sure everything works out okay.
That's awesome, and it's so true, right? Like any successful business, there's always someone running the business in the background, right?
Right.
And, whether it's Apple, whether it's, household, whether it's a school, there's always someone there in the background, and people don't realize that, right? And, I'm glad you're able to get over that when people ask you, so what do, right? Because some people just don't know any better, or maybe some of them want the same things that you're doing, and they just feel like they have to make certain comments to make themselves feel better, right? Because there's always underlying reasons as to why they do that. I really appreciate that quote, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think it's, just feeling good in your own skin, no matter where you are in life. And, you're placed in that position for a reason in that spot. And, you just got to find your purpose and know that it's a never ending cycle. You're always going to want to be better. There are always ways to just grow. And, I just feel like wherever you are in life, you just have to be happy with who you are. Like, of course I don't like my stretch marks or my cottage cheese, belly, but I call those are my battle wounds because I've had 3 kids. My last baby was a 10-pound baby, and so I got to be proud of that. That's those are my battle scars, and I'm okay with that because my 3 babies are worth it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And wow, 10 pounds. I didn't realize Lawson was that big when he came out.
He came out and they were like, he's, 9 pounds, 10 ounces. And the first thing she said was like, whoa, that's a big baby. I didn't even know, if he was healthy, if he was okay. She was just like, he's a big baby. He skipped right past the newborn diapers at the hospital. He went straight to, the next size because he was just way too large.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Jessica, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Well, I've always been one to be in the background of things, and I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable being a supporting figure and not being in the spotlight. And that's just me. And I'm okay with that, being in the shadows, because I know that's an important role as well. Yeah, I would say, that was me before and still now, because that's still me. But I am trying to push my boundaries and kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit more.
So what was that one realization or aha moment when you realized, you don't always have to be in the background, you can start coming out and show yourself more to the world?
It was actually the most recent one that really sticks out to me was when we were in Las Vegas. I think that was in January. My husband Lawrence had run a workshop, and one of the things that he had asked the participants in the workshop to do was make a bridge video. And so everyone broke out into groups. And I think, Sheena, you might have been in the same group that Lawrence and I were in. And there was this one lady who, there was a group of people and they were taking turns. And as her turn got closer and closer, I could see tears well up in her eyes, and she was just overcome with fear. And, we all rallied behind her and supported her and told her, there are so many people out there that need to hear your story, and you can help so many people. And she just bit the bullet and made her video. And we were all so proud of her. And when I came home, I felt kind of like a hypocrite. I'm here telling people they can do this, and you've got a voice, people need to hear it, and I'm just, not listening to any of my own advice. And so that was definitely an aha moment for me in Las Vegas.
Awesome. I think we're all guilty of giving advice and not following our own advice. I know I've been guilty of it. It's like right. I tell people what to do, and I'm thinking, really, you should be doing the same thing. And I was talking to a friend last week, and they said, when you give advice to people, it's really kind of like also telling yourself the same advice. Like you're saying that because you must be, you have to follow the same thing as well. So it's kind of funny how that works out. And,
yeah.
And Jessica, after that realization, what's your life like now?
Well, I'm on your podcast. And that is not anything I would have remotely thought about doing, say before January. And that was something I struggled with. You know that, because you're like, come on, Jess, come do this podcast. I'm like, I don't know if I have anything good to say. You sit here and interview all these successful entrepreneurs and, and I'm just a stay-at-home mom. But that's the story I've been telling myself and kind of demeaning my role in this family. And, it was something that I needed to help myself snap out of, and like you said, take my own advice and, let people hear, because there are other stay-at-home moms, I'm sure, that are in the same position that I'm in. So
awesome. Well, Jessica, I always think being a mother is the most important role ever, right? I mean, I think it's one of the things that most women, take pride in, taking care of the kids, taking care of the household, just looking out for your children, right? I mean, I'm always grateful for my mother, because sometimes I take her for granted. But when I look back and see what she's done for me, I mean, I'm just so grateful for her. And
Yeah.
I know when your kids look back, they're going to be the same thing. They'll be like, I'm really grateful I had a mom who could stay at home and be with me 24/7, because I'm sure most moms would love that for the children.
Yeah, it is absolutely the most important job that we have, because that's our future.
Yeah, and you want to raise your kids while you're still with them, right? While they're still, especially in the stage when they're still kids, because kids grow up so fast, like in a heartbeat.
Yes. And they're very impressionable right now, right? And so, we shouldn't lay it on our teachers or, anyone else to make those impressions. That's our job as parents, to make sure that they're good human beings, that they grow up and contribute to the world. And, it definitely is the most important job.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your story, to your episode, she's also in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think it's just being, truly happy with yourself. And I think one way that we've tried to accomplish that is by just being grateful for any and every little thing that we have. One activity that we do with our children is that we write in a daily gratitude journal. And I've taught my kids that it can be the smallest things, right? Like, the teacher gave us a basketball to play at recess, and I got to play basketball with my friends, or, somebody opened the door for me at school. We can't always think, oh, I'm grateful for this nice big house that I live in, or my luxury car, or, my exotic vacation. Let's think on a smaller scale sometimes, because those are very important too, because, small stuff happens around us all the time that we just need to be, so thankful for. And I think if you do that, like if you train yourself, and I think it really is that you need to train your brain to be thankful for the small things and not, just for the big extravagant things that happen in your life, then, it's just self-confidence is just a byproduct of that.
Thank you. And I think that's a great tip. If you can't be thankful for the small things, how do you expect to receive the bigger things in life and be thankful for it, right?
Right.
I'm thankful for something as simple as clean water, because there's so many people out there in the world who find that as a luxury. So
Exactly.
sometimes we take that for granted, living in America, living in Canada, that we forget that we have a luxury like clean water. So thanks for sharing that. And, Jessica, if the audience or the listeners want to get to know you a little bit more, is there any websites or social media profiles we can connect with?
Well, I am on Facebook under Jessica Wu Tam, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to the listeners, you can also head on to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Jessica's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Jessica for taking the time to sharing her story with us. So, Jessica, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheena. Always great to talk to you.
Awesome. Well, listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's story. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Subscribe to The Tao of Self-Confidence on iTunes and Stitcher to hear more stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence.